Yep.
Awesome. Just making some adjustments. We are live now, hypothetically. Hypothetically. Thank you, David, for doing such a wonderful study group tonight. It is deeply appreciated. Hi, Donkey. How are you? If you're not already, definitely take the chance to hop into the Twitch. We can have sort of more of a joint experience there. But if you don't want to, here is fine as well. I have been dinged and donged. Josh, you absolute beast. Thank you so much for the donation. Thank you so much for the bits. 100 bits. 100. Group meditation hype. Let's get some of that ambient.
Nice. I think 100 bits is $1 or something. Like,
Yeah, 100 bits is $1.
yeah.
Every
It's
little
a
bit
pretty,
helps.
it's a pretty good system because some are pretty like hard to understand in terms of what they amount to in actual money.
Yeah, absolutely. And, every little bit counts. We use all of your support to help reach more people and share meditation with more
Yeah, I
individuals, more
know.
groups of people.
I know it costs a bit to keep the website up and everything too.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, everyone who's here helping keeping this community and project going spends so much of their time, and it's all volunteer work. It's pretty amazing. I mean, it's very fun. Thank you, Dr. Splaxy, for the follow. Appreciate it deeply. If you haven't already, we would really appreciate the follow. Like I said, all the support we are extraordinarily thankful for, which, incidentally, happens to be the practice that we will be sharing tonight. We're going to be practicing loving kindness together with sort of a focus on a component of loving kindness, which is gratitude. So we're going to give a few minutes for people who haven't already to jump into the Twitch, get online, to get ready. Oh yeah, is it still low? Interesting. How's that sound, guys? Let me know. And thank you, Commander Pancake. I do love a good pancake. Oh, but only if they're gluten-free. I have celiac disease, you see. Are you commander of gluten-free pancakes as well as glutinous pancakes, or do you have a side that you're on? Yes. Hi, Mohit. I'm doing really well. How are you? You too, Andrea. Oh, sweet! Gluten-free pancakes. Awesome. Maybe we can do a pancake stream one of these days. We'll do some mindful eating practices with pancakes. Is this a Buddhist teaching? That's a good question. So I've used the term loving kindness, which is sort of a loose translation of the Pali word metta. And metta in Buddhism is one of the 4 Brahmaviharas, which translates to something like limitless realms. And these 4 Brahmaviharas are each of them represent qualities that we can develop to a very, very, very high degree. And these qualities can bring us closer to seeing things more clearly, to seeing things as they are. And so what I'm going to be sharing with you tonight, the type of practices we're doing, are not specifically Buddhist per se, but they do have Buddhist roots. In addition to that, they have many, many roots. It's not just in Buddhism. You'll find practices about love, compassion, gratitude in many, many, many different traditions. what kind of flour do you use in your GF pancakes? Commander Pan. Commander Cake. Perfect flour replacer. Alright, I'll have to remember that for next time. Ooh. I'm digging these tips right now. Dr. Spicy says, okay, I've only started practicing Buddhism and don't necessarily want to mix teachings before I better understand Buddhism. Okay, that's a great point. Let's touch on that for a moment. So, I think it's a really good idea that especially when you're first starting out, to when you start something and when you've started to experiment with a practice, just stick with that practice for a little while and not really veer off in any other directions. I think that's very valuable approach and quite important, because when you start mixing things and having one foot in one boat and another foot in the other boat, well, things can get a little confusing and imbalanced. Bradums, thank you for the follow. And hello to you. I think one of the things about practices like loving kindness and gratitude is that, at least in my experience, I've found that they can act so much so as a support for any other practice, and mesh very well with really every practice that I've ever encountered and practiced myself. However, I will say that if you don't want to do it, then don't do it. Do what feels right for you. And we do have sort of a different practice every evening. We do have some practices that are more specifically Buddhist, some drier practices, all different kinds of stuff. Nice lights, thank you so much. Hello Lee, hello Respector. Alright, we're gonna give this like another minute and a half, and then we'll begin the practice. So if you haven't already, find yourself a comfy position. Bookfan says, the problem for me with this is finding the time to do my regular practice with this one. Hope you're doing it now. And I assume when you say this one, you mean loving kindness. Let me say, in addition to my comment about it being a great supportive practice for really any other practice, is that also it's really, really valuable. It's really, really valuable. It's really, really valuable. Developing compassion, gratitude, and unconditional love in our lives is really valuable. I'll leave it at that. And you can practice with us tonight and see if maybe you think it might have any value. And if you feel like, oh yeah, this might have value for me in my life, me in my practice, then keep on trying it. Because persistence is key. Continuity is key. Why do you think every meditation tradition ever emphasizes discipline and a consistent practice? Because if you don't practice and you don't practice regularly, then it's difficult to see results. Uni is not joining us this evening. Uni is sleeping. Just a heads up here. There might be some people and some other noise that comes in, comes out. Just consider them distractions like you would in any other practice. And when you notice that you've become distracted, just return to the practice. So we can begin by finding a comfortable position. Usually, I'll recommend that you find a position that strikes a balance between comfort and proper posture. But in this case, for practices of loving kindness, and for tonight's practice, focusing on gratitude, please just find a position that you feel comfortable in. You can slouch, you can lay down, you can recline, you can curl up into a little ball, you can wrap yourself like a sushi. However you want to sit or arrange your body that feels comfortable to you, that will be the best position for this practice. Take a moment now. Center in, focus in. If you've got your phone on hand, silence it. Put it at a distance that is further than arm's reach away from you. And take a moment internally now. We're going to be practicing for just 15 minutes. Just 15 minutes. So make this commitment to yourself right now. Make this commitment to yourself that you will be present and you will follow along with this practice for this short 15 minutes. For this short 15 minutes. You can begin by deepening and lengthening your breath. Taking deep, rhythmic, and comfortable breaths. Come into presence with your breathing. Come into contact with your breathing. Experience how nice it is to take a full deep breath and to feel the air filling and flowing throughout your entire body. This bountiful air that we so often don't even consider. Taking deep, steady, rhythmic breaths, comfortable breaths. Take a moment now and consider a moment in your life where you felt grateful. Consider a moment where you felt grateful. Just relaxing, taking deep breaths, and consider a moment where you felt grateful. Remember what it feels to be filled with gratitude. Remember what it feels like. See if you can get in touch with that experience, with that feeling. Holding that feeling in yourself. Consider something simple today. Maybe it was a meal, or a few words someone said, or something you read. or some experience you had, or maybe it's this practice now. Consider something small and simple that brought you happiness or joy or satisfaction or some benefit. Consider that closely. Consider and evoke a sense of gratitude for that experience. Thank you. Take a moment to consider a friend or a family member. Bring them to mind. A friend or a family member who's been very supportive and loving to you in this life. Even if it was just in a small way, bring them to mind. Center your awareness in your heart. Center your awareness in your heart and breathe deeply into your heart center. And as you breathe, evoke a sense of gratitude for this person. You can use the memory you have of feeling grateful. You can use words like thank you or I am grateful for what you've done. Whatever helps you cultivate that sense of gratitude and breathe it deeply into your heart center. And as you exhale, feel that sense of gratitude spreading throughout your entire body and expanding outwards. Breathing in this sense of gratitude into your heart center and exhaling, let it flowing throughout your entire body and expand outside. What about your body? Are you able to see? Do you have eyes? Are you able to hear? Do you have both of your ears? Are you able to speak? Do you experience a sense of touch? Are all of your senses intact, and to what extent are they intact? Consider for a moment how lucky we are if our senses are intact. Breathing in a sense of gratitude. If it's helpful to you, you can visualize this gratitude as white light or golden light flowing into your heart, and as you exhale, this white or golden light flows throughout your body and then expands outwards in all directions. Stay in touch with this sense of gratitude. What about our limbs? Are all of your limbs intact? Are you able to walk? Consider and cultivate a sense of gratitude. Consider yourself. Think of your life. Think of some major events in your life. I bet a lot of them were very challenging. And I bet a lot of them were very joyful. Consider where you are today. Consider where you are now. Just keep on staying in touch with this sense of gratitude, and if you're having any difficulty, that's okay. Just fake it until you make it. Just keep at it. Every moment in our lives culminated in where we are right here and right now. Right here and right now. And this commitment to take on a practice with the goal of growing. Breathe in deeply a sense of gratitude for yourself. And as you exhale, let it flow throughout your body and outwards in all directions. challenges in our lives, all of the difficulties in our lives, they ask us to grow and keep on growing. And without those challenges, how would we grow? Consider for a moment how all of our obstacles and challenges have helped us grow in some way. Center your awareness in your heart. Breathing deeply, rhythmically, and comfortably. I am incredibly, unspeakably grateful for every one of you for sharing in this practice, for making the commitment to better yourself and to grow. And at your own pace, you can release the practice, relax the body, whatever you wish. But I invite you to stay with the sense of gratitude throughout the rest of the stream, the rest of the evening, the rest of the weekend, the rest of your life. Stay in touch with the sense of gratitude. So, if you like, feel free to ask any questions, share your experiences. We'll chat for a little while now, have some discussion. So for this practice was really pointing to different things in our lives that we might not have taken the time to consider previously, and different pockets of our life that we can begin to cultivate gratitude in. Cultivating a sense of gratitude, again, like all loving kindness practices, it's not really necessarily about the external thing that we're feeling grateful for. And it's also not really about the tools through which we cultivate the gratitude, like the visualization that I suggested, or breathing into your heart. It really comes down to the fact that the quality of gratitude and cultivating that quality has a lot of benefits. It has a lot of benefits for us personally. Now, we could talk ad nauseum about what those benefits are, but I'd really prefer if you guys share what you think some of the benefits might be, or if you experienced any benefits during this short practice. And then, if you're interested in it, to keep on practicing and to keep on cultivating the sense of gratitude in a way that feels right to you. I did touch on a lot of different tiny methods for cultivating gratitude. Different ways will work better for different people. Possum Pal, had a weird reaction of crying laughter when he talked about challenges. Made me realize they were indeed important. I am indeed grateful for the learning experience despite the difficulties. Yeah, I mean, and just taking the time to consider that can, in the briefest of instance, can sort of reframe our entire perspective and our entire attitude. And when we're approaching challenges and obstacles with that sort of attitude, with an attitude of gratitude, oh God. But seriously though, that attitude of gratitude can really shift our lives in quite a tremendous way. When you come into a challenge and you're really able to take a moment and really able to take that space, and you're like, okay, like, how can I grow here? How am I being asked to grow in this scenario, in this situation, in this instance? For instance, today, I was really extraordinarily tired after I got back from work, and I went downstairs and did some meditation practices. And I'm sure some of you have experienced this before, but after the practice, I was really feeling my exhaustion very acutely, as well as feeling extraordinarily vulnerable. I felt like my entire body felt like an open wound, And the situation that I'm living in right now is very communal, so there are a lot of people around. And I was just laying down on the couch and not participating in the social situations because I needed some space. And, some of my friends would come up to me and sort of enter my space and ask how I'm feeling. And there's that opportunity there. I can be really honest with them about what I'm going through and how I'm feeling, or not. And there's a sense of discomfort in that type of dishonesty. And for me, and just for me, this is really for me, I feel in that moment that is an opportunity for me to grow in the way that I communicate, and to grow in the way that I impart what I'm feeling. And so that was a space. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm feeling really vulnerable right now, and very much like an open wound. And I think we have these challenges in our lives multiple times a day. And of course, there's different scales of them. And there's such a great opportunity to grow. And that sense of gratitude can help reframe our perspective so that we can catch those moments when they come and not get lost in the discomfort of them and the self-pitying frame of mind, and rise to the challenge. Let's read a few more questions and sharing here. Andrea said, I had a similar experience from last night's meditation that happened again tonight. The space between the breaths felt infinite. Thankful for all the time spent here, for everyone who's helped me along the way. Amazing, Andrea. Amazing. Mohit said, I try negative visualization the Stoics recommend. I imagine myself without something I love. It's a great gratitude hack. Nice. I love that. I think ultimately when it comes to these practices, like I said, it's not about the visualization. It's not about the tools we use. It's not even about the objects or people that we're expressing gratitude for. It's simply about the sense of gratitude and expanding that sense of gratitude and continuing that sense of gratitude and noticing when there's resistance to cultivating gratitude and being present with that. Thank you, Andrea. Have I thanked you lately? Does anyone have any other questions or experiences they'd like to share? Book fan. What to do when there's something in the background causing irritation? I tried focusing on the gratitude a bit more. It kind of worked and kind of didn't. Great question. For me, in all of these practices, the name of the game is just to keep returning to the practice. And sometimes that means, very literally return to the practice. I get distracted, come back to the breath. Get distracted, come back to the sense of gratitude. And sometimes it means altering the way we're looking at things a little bit and switching our attitude and perspective just a tiny bit, maybe there's something in that distraction that we can cultivate gratitude for. Maybe there's some sense along the way that comes in that we can cultivate gratitude for. So, for example, I'm sitting here, right? And maybe I'm hearing a lot of noise in the background from my friends. And the noise is distracting to my practice and maybe even agitating. I'm sitting here, I'm streaming, I want there to be a quiet space. But then to reframe things a little bit, zoom out a little bit. Okay, it's my friends who are making those noises. And I love my friends very dearly. And I'm very grateful for my friends. Very grateful for my friends. And that's sort of like this little switch we can do, this little tweak we can make. So I think it's up to us to really understand that when we sit in meditation practice, that everything that we're experiencing in the context of a meditation practice is part of that meditation. And so, whenever we get in this space where we're creating separation and we're like, oh my God, such and such thing was preventing me from meditating, to take a moment and reframe that and to reframe that, twist things around and be like, okay, but wait, how can I incorporate that into my practice? How can I see that through the context of the medium of this practice, of whatever practice you may be doing? So Mohit says, so if I am trying to wish loving kindness to someone and can't do it, then I need to focus on the feeling, sensation, thoughts of not being able to do it, right? Let me read this again. So Mohit is describing a scenario where we're in the practice in a situation where we're cultivating compassion or unconditional love or gratitude for another person. And for whatever reason, at this moment, we're feeling barriers, resistance, or an inability to cultivate these feelings for that other person. And Mohit asked, in that case, should I focus on the feeling or the thought of not being able to express love, compassion, gratitude to that other person? And again, I think this is a situation where it's up to us to experiment with reframing, experiment with practicing. So for example, one of the ways that we might cultivate gratitude is by using words. So like thank you, or I am grateful, or whatever. And these words sort of provide a catalyst for gratitude. And if we're in a situation where we're working to express gratitude or compassion towards someone and we're feeling resistance, then there's this phrase I like to use, and it's fake it until you make it. Seriously. Just keep at it. Just keep coming back to it. And if you're saying the words and you're not really feeling it, fine. Just keep at it. Really be present with it. Be present with the fact that there's discomfort in that. And, remember that this is about cultivating these characteristics inside of ourselves. Okay? And that there is a reason, obvious or subtle, that we feel resistance to cultivating these feelings. Almost, in a way, it's like figuring out how we can trick ourselves into experiencing those things. I guarantee you that every single one of us and every single human being on the planet has experienced some degree of every one of these feelings, some degree of them. And if we're able to tap into it and allow it to grow and expand and continue, then there we are. Does anyone have any other questions or comments that they'd like to share? Thank you, everyone. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for coming tonight. Keep on practicing. Keep experimenting with it. Feel free to contact me privately, David, to ping us in the community on Discord with any questions. Keep on sharing your experiences, sharing your practice. I know some of you have been really committed to attending regularly, and thank you for that. Thank you to your heart. Thank yourself. I love you too, David. I'm gonna sign off for the evening. Have a wonderful night. Have a wonderful day. See you again soon.